My name is Josh O'Neill, and I was born in the beautiful country of New Zealand many years ago. I've been very lucky. My background is in project management, and I've traveled a lot of the world and worked in a lot of different places. Around about 9 years ago, I was lucky to come to Malaysia. And it wasn't for work, it was actually to go scuba diving and to learn how to become a rescue diver and eventually become a dive instructor. I went back to Australia for a very short period of time, finished off a project there, and then ever since basically have based myself here in Malaysia and a couple of years in Singapore. So my background is in the corporate world, and it really is around project management. I'm recently certified as a green project manager. That's a little bit of background. I think one of the things I'd like to say is that Malaysia is my second home, and that's the visa that I'm on, but I treat Malaysia now as my first home. So the Litter Club was born when I was doing a project in Singapore. Now I've been back in Malaysia now for about 6 months, but I was in Singapore for 2 years. And over that time, working back in the corporate world, I realized that we could do things a little bit better. And I actually watched a movie called Blue the Film, and I interacted with the director at that time. It's an Australian produced movie. I realized that throughout my diving life over the last kind of 12, 15 years, that the litter in our oceans has got worse and worse and worse. And I decided to do something about it. Over about a 6-month period, we formulated some plans with some friends, and on January 22nd last year, 2020, we actually established and launched the official Litter Club in Singapore with ambassadors also in Australia, Malaysia, Philippines and Indonesia. So from there it's growing. It was founded as a way of creating publicity for what's happening on our planet. The real reason behind it was to do beach cleanups and to stop litter getting into our oceans. And from there, it's expanded in a short period of time. We now do not only beach cleanups, but also river cleanups, community area cleanups, and we've become more involved in community gardening and other aspects within the community to try and reduce the amount of litter that is released into our environment, which will eventually make its way into our oceans. So we realize that yes, we've got to clean up our oceans, but one of the things we also have to do is make sure that it doesn't get there in the first place. So that's purely the reason why we started, and from there it's just gradually growing and growing. Well, we call the Litter Club for a reason, and that's because we go out and pick litter up and get it out of our environment. So one of our biggest achievements so far is that in 2020, we managed in Singapore to pick up 2,000, and a little bit of Malaysia, 2,020 kilograms worth of litter. And this is obviously during COVID. So 2020 in 2020. This year we decided that we'd go for 2021. No, we wanted to obviously do a lot more than that. So we just went, let's do as much as we can, but stay safe. And so far this year, I can tell you we've picked up almost 7,000 kilograms of litter out of the ocean, out of rivers, lakes, anywhere that we can find it, and organize some people to pick it up. We do that, so almost 7 tons. And that's an incredible achievement in the first 4 months of this year. I guess the biggest challenge that we've faced is COVID-19 and the pandemic that we're currently going through. When we started and launched in Singapore, within 4 weeks, we already had 40 people joining us for a cleanup, and we were picking up a lot of litter. COVID came, everything was locked down. The circuit breaker or the movement control in Singapore was established. Nobody could go outside. So when we could go outside, a few of us were picking up a little bit of litter as we kind of went round, but we watched our city, the city of Singapore, basically turned into a rubbish dump. The waste management systems were stretched, people were not allowed to go outside, and litter was obviously still there. So we were looking at an exponential growth really of getting people out there and being part of picking up litter, and it just stopped overnight, completely stopped. So we still feel proud that even through the restrictions we were able to pick up 2,020 kilograms. However, it's really slowed down what we really wanted to do. We're not going to give up. We're getting out there in small groups. We're motivating people to make a difference in their community. That's what it's about. I want litter clubs all around the world. Seriously, nothing short of that. I would love to see, we're already establishing and having people join us now and say, are you doing it on the West Coast beach? And we say, well, we don't have an ambassador there. Would you like to do that? And they're like, yes, let me help organize, let me become part of this. So even with our inability to be able to make direct connections with people face to face, we're actually finding that people are connecting with us online and going, I want to get out, I want to make a difference, we want to be part of this. So I'm talking to people at the moment in Johor, as well as KK, Kota Kinabalu in Sabah, who are keen to start their own litter club. And we support that with an app. We have an app online now through Apple and Google. And so that's supported with our app. And that means that anywhere around the world you can report litter, you can report your cleanup, and we have a centralized repository as to where that litter is, what it is, and when that problem was rectified. So yeah, the ultimate goal for the litter club is just to have the litter clubs everywhere. But not everybody has to be a litter club. I mean, there are hundreds of other organizations out there doing cleanups every week. And every club that does that is important. So not everybody has to be our brand. If I had to switch life with somebody, I think there is two people on this planet that have had such incredibly powerful and impactful lives. One of them would be David Attenborough. Just from an early age, being able to get out there, be on camera, and experience the incredible things that he has seen through his life, and get paid for it as well. But he has experienced some just phenomenal events, and he's watched our planet deteriorate, and now we're in that same arena with him. Young kids nowadays will see where our planet is and where it's going to go to, and we're responsible for that. Another one would have to be Jane Goodall, another woman dedicating her life to the environment, dedicating her life to nature, and just the amazing things that she has seen and experienced through her life, and both of them proudly sharing that with the rest of the world and bringing very, very powerful messages which have inspired people. We just need to inspire more to realize the impacts that we're doing. But for me, two incredible people. This one is easy. This one I've used through my personal life as well as my professional life. It's called Start With Why, and it's by Simon Sinek. And it turns around the whole way that we talk about things, that we market everything, and focuses purely on the why. And if we look at the Litter Club, that's how we work. We always start with the why. Why are we doing this? What is our values? What is our mission? What's the objective? What's our desired outcomes? Then we work out what that is, how we need to do it, when we need to get it done by. But if you don't start with a why, then you don't truly understand why you're actually doing something. And it just happens. So to me, that's an incredibly powerful book. It's small. Simon Sinek is everywhere through YouTube and has written additional books as well. But very, very clever in being able to just switch our perspective, and in switching the perspective, make a completely different impact on people and our environment. So I think I want to talk about the three values which are dear not only to my own heart, but what I try and bring to the organization as well. And they're quite simple. The first one is about acknowledging and hearing and respecting everybody that's in our organization, whether young or old, male or female, whoever they are. Actually recognizing and celebrating everything that they bring to an organization. And we are a volunteer organisation, so sometimes people come once and they do a cleanup and they've done what they needed to do from their bucket list. Other times we might end up with them coming back time and time again, eventually becoming ambassadors and actually running cleanups around Southeast Asia and hopefully around the world. The other value, I guess, the second value would be around inclusivity, and that's about being inclusive, ensuring that we welcome everybody into our organisation, whether it's just once or whether it's multiple times. And the third value would be around being intentional. Everything we do is intentional. Everything we do is with the right goal in mind. And that's the big thing, I think. It's not just a case of going out there and going, oh, we're going to do a cleanup. We have to realise and recognise that we also do it with a desired outcome. And we don't just try and fix the problem of today. We also work with a tree planting platform, EcoMatcher, and they plant trees all around the world. So we realise and understand from our values that there is an issue today in the amount of litter that we have in our world. However, we're also looking at 10, 20, 30 years down the track where we have to start regenerating and rejuvenating our world. So yeah, I think being intentional is probably our third value. Yeah, I think there is an absolute lesson that we need to learn from nature. We are top of the food chain. We are it. Nobody else or anything else on this planet has a chance. But if we look at so many examples in nature of teamwork, of community, you look at ants, you look at bees, you look at all of these animals in our world who work together for the betterment of their community. I think that that's a huge lesson that we can learn. I think that we have tended to lose the sense of community, the sense of community pride, the gotong royong, and all around the world. And that we now don't know our neighbours and we don't help our neighbours. We put up big fences between them, and then we just look after our piece of land and our car and what means so much to us, and that puts a dollar value on it. Ants and bees and other animals, they don't have cash, so they just get on with their life for the betterment of the whole community. We are, as I say, top of the food chain. We have a brain, we have choice, and we can maybe choose to do things a little bit differently and follow what the animals do and be more involved and be more proud of our community and more human or humane. Everything. I think everything on this planet can be recycled. Maybe we don't have the technology to recycle everything, but I think again that comes down to, well, I'm not going to say responsibility of the consumer, although part of that is, but also the responsibility of the manufacturer and the producer. We need to ensure that what we are producing is easily recyclable, and that they take responsibility in ensuring the entire life cycle of their product. We also need to help make it easy for consumers to put it in the right bin and know what we can recycle easily and what we cannot recycle. That will help us make more stuff out of things that is easily recyclable. Use that. Doesn't matter so much about cost. Then we know which bin to put it in. At the moment, we see a lot of people with wonderful intentions that they want to recycle, but they wish cycle. They throw everything in that's plastic and only some of it can be used. Or they throw in things which are not compatible and essentially make that bin totally unrecyclable, even if there's recyclable products in there. So I think that everything on this planet can be recycled. We just have to know how to do it. We just have to use technology to make it easier, and we just have to make it easier for the consumer at the end of the day. So let's get the manufacturers on board and help us to do that. Okay, so the Litter Club app was actually sponsored by NTT, and they helped us develop an app which is very, very simple. It basically is the opportunity for people to record where litter is. Now this may mean that there is a large pile of waste somewhere, they can't clean it up immediately, but they can tell us where it is. Now that information is fed to our community groups who are online with us, and also fed into Facebook, so that people who follow us on Facebook know that there is litter in that area. Different community groups can then go in and rectify it. When they go in and rectify and actually pick up that litter, they can then report that they've done a cleanup. They can tell us what type of litter was there, and they can fill in an audit. So things like how many cigarette butts did they pick up, how many plastic bottles, how many plastic bags or food containers did they collect. This information, this data is really important to help us affect policy when it comes to local and federal governments. We can show them the amount of litter that we're picking up, and then work towards solutions and how we can reduce that specific type of litter. So this app, the Litter Club, you can look it up, L-I-T-T-E-R, the Litter Club, you can look it up. You can get it on Apple and Google, and download anytime. Very easy to use, very user-friendly, and tell us where that litter is in your community, and we'll find people to come and help pick it up, or we'll report it to the local government authorities as well, to be able to help us. So we are looking at integrating it in with, we're looking at water sensors and how we can actually identify purity of water in different aspects of it. We want to keep it simple because we want people to use it. So tell us where the litter is, get the communities involved so they know where it is, and then obviously rectify that issue, and then give us the data as to how much you picked up. So from that aspect, yes, we're looking at integrations in the future, but we also want to keep it very user-friendly, very specific, I guess, in collecting the data that we need from an audit point of view. I think there's a responsibility in founding an organisation that works for the community, and I think that this is my biggest word, and that is community. So a message from me to the world, or to anyone who's watching, is this is about community. This is about coming together and appreciating each other and how we can help each other to make our planet better. We are only renting this space, and we're not here for a really long time. But what we do while we are impacts everybody that comes after us. So if anybody who's watching or listening has children, has nephews and nieces, has cousins, has anybody who is younger than them, this is our opportunity to pass on a different legacy to them. We can only do that by coming together as a community, by reducing the amount of individualistic ideas that we have, and realizing that together we can make a far bigger impact than we can alone. So I guess check us out at the Litter Club and see what we're doing to build community pride, and just be involved. Take an opportunity to get away from the craziness that our world is in at the moment. Be safe, and come and collect some litter with us.